let's get into our in the zone player here, which for everybody out there, in the zone player is our player of the week essentially. For me, speaking of Lamar, it's got to be Lamar. I called Lamar having a day, winning that game last week and wrapping up the MVP, which I think he did. Obviously 321 and 5 tuds. Yep. Had like 35 on the ground as well. So for me, it's got to be Lamar Jackson for my in the zone player this week.
Yeah, I think if we were just talking about this guy too for my in zone guy. I think it's Justin Fields. Justin Fields had a good day. He was able to get some stuff going there. He had an incredible escape. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yes.
But
yeah.
He had an incredible escape that was able to extend the play. He had Bears fans chanting his name. He's making a case to keep himself in Chicago. I think he wants to stay in Chicago. I think they're building something good there. I think they're just a couple pieces away, but I think Justin Fields was he was him this weekend. Like he's definitely playing for a spot, and I like Justin Fields. If Chicago decides they want to go away from him, I'd be open to Justin Fields coming to Denver. But then the problem is you're gonna have to pay him right away, and is it worth paying him or is it worth taking a chance on this?
I think it depends on what you got to pay him. I really do. I think it really comes down to what does he want for that market? Is he going to be reasonable, or is he going to try to set the market? I think that's really what it comes down to.
And is it worth taking a chance on a rookie or letting Justin Fields reset the market?
It's definitely more
because right now I don't think he's deserving of resetting.
I don't either. But every quarterback seems to want the next money, and in 5 years that money doesn't look nearly as bad because there's been 12 other contracts.
I think he's definitely. I think he's definitely played himself into a chance of them of considering it a little bit more.
Oh, he's definitely opened the door.
Yeah,
for sure. I think a couple weeks ago that door may have been shut, but I definitely think he is. He's definitely kicked it open and he's making a case for it for sure.
Absolutely.
And for me, my honorable mention, we'll call it, would be Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
On the defensive side, he had 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. Honestly, if the Lions find a way to win that game, he's probably my player of the week this week because he was a monster.
Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson, one of my favorite players in the league. I will say that every week on the show. I love Aiden Hutchinson. Love him. We're going to go my honorable mention here. I really like Kyron Williams from Los Angeles.
Kyron made a Pro Bowl this year.
He made a Pro Bowl.
He played 12 games.
He had 3 touchdowns this weekend against the Giants, and he's carrying that Rams team right now. I mean, the Rams are the Puka Nakua's been playing really well. Cooper Kupp had a touchdown this weekend.
Also Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I mean, Kyron Williams, he's carrying the Rams right now. And if anybody had Kyron Williams on their fantasy team, sure, he's carrying your ass too. So
I have him a couple
you suck this year, but
I did suck this year.
Yeah, Kyron Williams, he was definitely a good get this year, and he's been the Rams' offense. He's playing very, very good. I think he kind of came out of nowhere a little bit, but he played good last year. I'm not gonna say he came out of nowhere, but he had a little injury issue this year, and then was able to resurrect his season a little bit. So Kyron Williams definitely gets a thumbs up from me this week.
Yeah, I'm definitely in agreement there. Do say
if you don't mind, I'd like to put one more person in the zone player, but this person's not a player. It's a coach. Congratulations to Jonathan Gannon for going back into Philly and beating Philly.
Whooping that ass.
And making Philly question everything about what's going on with them because they lost to the Cardinals and Jonathan Gannon. I think the Eagles were they were having issues the last couple weeks, but I think this game kind of put them in panic mode a little bit.
I think this put the fans in a panic mode because the fans were kind of hanging on the Cards beating the shit out of the Cowboys earlier in the year.
Yep.
Internet got real quiet after the Cards come in there and put it on them as well.
Yeah, the Cards, I think they'll be okay. I think they just got to build a little bit. They have a lot of gaping holes in their roster. They'll figure it out. Yeah,
they definitely
figure it out. They'll be. I can definitely see them, unless Marvin Harrison's sitting there at 4 when they pick.
I think
3 or 4.
They're at 4.
If Marvin Harrison's there, I think you have to take him. I think he's the pick. But
I think they end up.
If Marvin Harrison's gone by the time they're up to pick, I say trade. Collect some picks for next year.
Yeah, I think Marvin Harrison's there. So it's I think whether at 3 or 4. I think he's there.
Yeah.
I think if they end up at 3, they have to have a strong consideration on trading that pick.
Yeah.
Even if Harrison is there, to look at a quarter.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to pay a ransom to come up and probably take Jaden Daniels or Jake May or
that's
Drake
another
May.
situation. They can move down 1 spot or 2 spots and still land their guy. Why not?
Yeah. they're in a solid spot if Harrison is the way they want to go. But let's get to our in the red player for that. What that is a player who just sucked, who stunk it up, didn't get it done. Not good enough this week. For me, this one hurts because this is my boy, and it's Travis Kelce. I'm coming at you, Travis. Looking right at you. I don't know if Taylor's in your head. I know she's an Eagles fan, but 3 catches, 16 yards. It's a rough one. Needs more at you.
You suck.
It's a tough one for me.
That's personal for me.
I love Travis.
That's personal for me because I was relying on you in fantasy this week, and you just had to do it. I like Jason better.
I still like Travis better.
Love you, Travis. I do like Jason better though. Jason Kelce's my favorite player in the league.
He's up there.
So we're going my in the red players. I kind of have a twofer here. It's all going to stay in the state of North Carolina. My first one, if we're talking player, is Bryce Young, because Bryce Young has stunk up the bed this year, pretty bad. I mean, the Carolina Panthers are very bad. Bryce Young doesn't look like he knows how to play quarterback, but I mean that could also be because he has a JV offensive line blocking for him, and he has middle school receivers running routes. But besides Adam Thielen's played pretty damn solid for them.
I don't mind Jonathan Mingo either, but
yeah,
definitely not enough weapons.
He's not getting it done. I think the reason he's my in the red player this week, you got to be looking. The Panthers have to be looking at their team, and the Bears having the number 1 pick this year, and they have. I mean, if you put Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud in the draft this year with Drake May, Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels, I think all 3 of those guys go before Bryce Young. And
I think 2
Stroud.
of them for sure.
Yeah, I think the Panthers have to be looking at themselves like, why didn't we trade? Why didn't we trade back last year and pick somebody else? We were more than a quarterback away. I understand you've got to take your guy. Like, if you think Bryce Young's your guy, you got to take him. And, like, you obviously need a quarterback. I don't think they could have walked into the season with Andy Dalton as a starting quarterback. They probably would have won more games, if I'm being completely honest. But
honestly, I don't know if you put Pat Mahomes on this team and they're doing much more than they are.
Yeah. They're definitely, and that's why I think last year, like, they were more than just a quarterback away.
Yeah,
and like you knew this draft coming up. I think everybody could have saw last year that this draft coming up was going to be the draft to get a quarterback.
Yeah, and even looking at obviously, I don't know if Jaden Daniels was quite so high coming into the start of the year. He obviously
the Heisman campaign definitely.
Yeah, he showed vast improvement throughout the year. But even past that, and some of the guys who decided to go back, who could have been in this class. It was going to be a very deep class. The next two draft classes have a lot of talent at quarterback coming out. But I think that's a lot to do with David Temper and just not having the foresight to let the guys you hire do the job.
Yep.
Like Temper, obviously you made a shit ton of money in all kinds of other aspects of life, but you hire these guys to do a job, and I mean he's been there 5 years, 6 years, and they've went through 4 or 5 head coaches.
Yeah,
like it's you can't build a bad roster in a year with constant change, and now I think you're in a situation where who the hell takes that job?
Yeah, and I think he just doesn't understand what it takes to be an NFL owner. I really don't, because I mean you can't build an NFL team in a year. It's never going to happen.
Very rarely.
No, you need 3-4 years of you need to, first of all, you need to pick the right quarterback. Mm-hmm. You need to have the right head coach at the job, and you got to have 3 or 4 years of just good player development, drafting your guys, building a structure and a
you got to build a culture.
Yeah, you got to build a culture. I mean, Dan Campbell is he's a shining light on building a culture. Mm-hmm. Everybody made fun of him when he got hired as the coach. He said he was going to bite somebody's fucking kneecap off. Well, guess what? I mean, they're fucking 11. What are they? 11-4, 11-5. Like they embody their culture, and I think the Panthers don't have a culture. I think this is a problem that the Broncos have had in years past. I think there's a couple teams in the league where we can go here and talk and analyze every team that has culture issues, but there are a lot of teams with culture issues, and I think Carolina is number 1 on that list.
I think it is by a long shot, and there's no patience there. I get you want to win.
Yeah.
Everybody in the league wants to win, but you gotta understand what you have. You have to have some self-awareness to look at your roster and be like, all right, we need some work.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's there.
Yeah, I think it's like you just asked me this question, but I don't know who would want to take that job. If I'm Ben Johnson, who's probably
not a chance,
he's probably the best candidate this year. I would stay away from Carolina. I would stay. Yeah, I think.
But I don't think either one.
No, I think your top two candidates. Obviously, it's going to be a big question if Jim Harbaugh comes out. But if I'm Harbaugh, if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm staying far the fuck away from that job.
Absolutely.
I mean, that job has,
unless you paid me some obscene amount of money, I think that's the only way you're getting anybody to go there with anybody, any reputable.
Yeah. Do you know who has that job written all over his forehead? In my opinion.
No, because I can't think of anybody.
Eric Bieniemy. The guy who has wanted a head coach job and has gotten passed over so many fucking times. But I could see a guy like Bieniemy taking that. I can see a guy like a Lovie Smith taking that job.
Lovie Smith feels like a fall guy to go there for a year and fail.
I think that job is a fall. It's a fall guy job. Like I don't think a guy that knows their worth and knows what they're doing is going to want to take that job. I really don't. I think Ben Johnson is being advised to stay away from that job because everybody knows he is the hottest young coaching candidate in the league right now. I mean, I wouldn't. If I'm him, I'm not taking that job.
I think you're set up to fail, and it's gonna be a first time coach in my opinion. I don't think you have anybody with NFL experience.
Why would you
come in and coach that?
Yeah. Why would you? I mean, and if you look at the landscape of the upcoming season. It's not like, oh, hey, we suck this year. We're gonna have a first round pick to play with this year. They don't.
Yeah.
Like that has to be the worst possible job that you can have in the NFL right now. Like as far as a head coach. And I don't think there's been a worse job in the league in quite some time.
Like, I don't want to say there's a bad job in the NFL, but that feels like a bad job in the NFL.
It feels because I mean you have the bad structure and kind of going off of that. My second hand of the in the red player this week was David Tepper. The man was throwing drinks on fans. Like it doesn't get any worse than that as a freaking owner. Like why the hell would you want to play for that guy, or why the hell would you want to coach?
The
for
fan's
that
about to get paid though.
Yeah, I'd
$300,000 fine.
Yep, I'd say he spit on me too.
Oh yeah, broken back, slipped on a piece of ice.
Yep. My neck, my back. Yeah, fuck David Tepper. I think
he's bad.
I love what's happening. Like I hate it for the players. I hate it for Bryce Young, but I love what's happening to him in Carolina.
Yeah, I really like Adam Thielen. Like, it really shocks me that Adam went there. Like, I mean, he was a free agent. He could go where he went. Obviously, he goes there.
I think he knew he was going to get. He was going to be the guy there.
I'll agree. I think he was going there to be the guy again.
Because he was the guy. He was the guy in Minnesota, and Justin Jefferson comes in, and he's not the guy anymore. And I think he just wanted to be the guy again.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think there's any other team in the league he could have went to and been the guy, unless he went maybe
New England,
Chicago,
Arizona. He could have had a good role in Chicago. I think.
So I mean, he could have. There's a couple places he could have went, but like that was the gaping hole where he was 100% no questions asked the guy.
Yeah.
Because if you go to another place, he can be quite. You go to New England, he can be compared with Smith-Schuster. You go somewhere else, like he can be compared with other guys. Nobody comparing him to anybody in Carolina.
No.
Like
Jonathan Mingo's decent, but
they need a lot of help. They need Bobby Boucher in there to come out of the woodwork. They need a lot of help. I would not want to be a Carolina Panther. If I was a Carolina Panthers fan right now, I would. I'd take up a new team application. So
I'd be finding Luke Kuechly and asking him to come back and coach a team.
100%. 100%. But yeah, that's mine. Did you have any other?
Yeah, I did, and mine is Mike McDaniel. Obviously, a big time primetime game. You get blew out. You make the decision to still have your starters out there after the Ravens had already benched their starters. Yeah. Which I mean, that's kind of for me. If the opposite team has put the dogs away and we're playing our backups, you make the same decision. If you're still running ones on ones, I get it. Shit happens. You know, it's a freak injury. But they pulled the reins back and he didn't. He was still trying to run the ones out there on defense, and obviously lose Chubb. Yeah, obviously got blew out in that game as well.
Definitely hurts them.
It does. I think that takes the Dolphins from a legitimate contender in the NFL to first round exit.
Very well possible.
I don't think they have the
Very
defense.
Very
now.
well possible.
I think they're too banged up on defense. Chubb was the last straw kind of on defense for me. I don't really think they have a chance now.
Yeah, I can definitely see it, but they're building a good culture over there too. If we were just talking about culture, I think they definitely have a good culture over there. Mike McDaniel seems to be a real good head coach, but
did you see him chirping Dan Marino?
Yeah,
we coming for your records.
Yep.
I did like that.
Yeah.
I do like McDaniel as a coach going forward, but I just don't think that was
a questionable decision. It's obviously something he's going to have to learn from.
Yeah, so I think given that decision next time, he'll make a different one.
All right.
But that'll do it for in the zone players, in the red players there. In the red player guys, only 1 week left. Get it done next week.
Yep, gotta get it done. Not you, David Tepper. Fuck you.
Yeah, David Tepper. I don't know if you're getting it done next week. But all right, we're gonna move on to a little NFL scouting here.